Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, Senior Lakers Insider for Clutch Points. And today on the show, we will be talking about LeBron subtweeting the Lakers. You know, just the passive aggressive has struck again. This time practicing at the Cleveland Cavaliers practice facility. Harrison has some fire that he wants to spit on that regard. Obviously, the Lakers also signed Jaxson Hayes yesterday, so we will talk about that. The noise continues to mount about D'Anthony Melton behind the scenes, so we'll talk about that and what the Lakers would have to do to be able to get him. And yeah, we're basically gonna spend a chunk of our July 4th holiday with you guys. Honestly, this is an emergency podcast. I'm not gonna kid. We saw the LeBron tweets. I texted Harrison. I was like, dude, we have to go live. We have to talk about this. I'm also kidding about that. We were going to talk today anyway because Pete, his voice is still bleeped up. So I asked Harrison if he could do me a favor, and here you are, Harrison. Happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Yeah, I was going to say, anyone curious about why Pete is not doing the show, just listen to the LFR pod and hear what he sounds like. And I think he's got to load manage his podcasting right now.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to stand in for my internet stepdad,
Yeah, he look, Pete and I text all the time. Obviously, now that we're recording regularly too. And I was like, hey, man, just seeing like if your voice can handle another podcast on Friday, I'm perfectly fine pushing it to next week if you want. And he was like, honestly, dude, like it wouldn't. It couldn't handle recording twice in a day again. So Harrison is here. Thank you, Harrison, for hopping on. And yeah, please hit that subscribe button, everybody. Please hit that like button. Please hit that share button. That stuff helps a little bit too. And then if you guys are listening to this when I put it up in the RSS feed, hit subscribe wherever it is that you get your podcast, preferably on Odyssey because I'm a company man. And yeah, we'll go ahead and dive on in.
Do you want Anthony to potentially spend more money on fireworks and blow himself up? Time to get those super chats in. I'm just saying,
I should tell that to Twitter. Like, hey, if you guys leave enough super chats, I will buy a firework and blow myself up. And I think people would tune in and give me fireworks.
Probably, yeah. I mean, like if there's a chance, yeah.
Yeah, like just
I'll super chat $5 for that.
The responses to everything I'm tweeting nowadays are just lovely. But the Harrison, I was going to start the show with this video because it's such a fun video. It's so like entertaining. Actually, I'm putting it here so that you and I can where's the thing? Video file. There is. I want to put it so that people can see our reaction to it. All right, you ready?
You ready? He did not give me any warning about this.
I know. But here's LeBron James swinging a golf club.
That's a motherfucking shot. Shit. Over the trees, huh?
Ain't no 2 days the same, huh?
I ain't know, man. I'm just trying to get better, champ.
Let's
Keep
go.
stacking the days.
Let's go.
So talking in golf, he's sorry as hell.
Do you think he first of all, shout out to Moulin Rouge for making me aware that I was using the wrong mic. Anthony and I were talking for like 15 minutes before the show and he didn't even tell me. So thank you. Yeah, I choose to believe that LeBron just narrates everything he does like that. He just just constantly just play by play of his own life.
I just want like in terms of just audio, there is very few like clips better than this that sum up golf than the first like 2 seconds of this where you hear
That's a motherfucking shot.
It's so good.
Look, I have not golfed as much as you, but we've all been there. If you have golfed, you've been there. I mean, maybe my missus probably did not go as far off course as LeBron. He is a lot stronger than me. But we've all had that feeling if you've ever golfed.
It's just so good. It's so it's so effing amazing.
It's just the second it leaves the tee,
Over the trees, huh?
Yeah, it's just
over the trees.
Ain't no 2 days the same, huh?
Hey, no, man. I'm just trying to get better, champ.
Let's
Keep
go.
stacking the days.
Let's go.
So,
Oh man, shouts to LeBron, man. Look, and people got angry at me for saying this, that like there's finally something that I might be better, that I'm probably better than LeBron at. People got so angry at
this is how we get him and Austin to do like their celebrity golf challenge. It's like them versus you and me.
Yeah. It's look, golf. Full disclosure, my parents have video of me golfing when I was like Avery's age. She's 5 years old. And I've been golfing for a long ass time. And still suck at golf, by the way. Like golf is not a sport anybody gets good at ever, unless you have zillions of dollars to spend on it, which eventually I bet LeBron will get really good at golf because he's super competitive. He's really athletic, has great hand-eye coordination. And I bet eventually, like when he, spends enough time and money and resources on it, like he'll eventually be better at golf than I am. Just right now, having seen his swing, I'm probably a little better than him, and that's fine. But the thing about golf,
it's like, I mean, the real question is there a sport you don't think LeBron could get good at if he, practiced enough? And like, I think the answer is no,
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't, he's so competitive. And you know what else makes me think he's going to get good at it? Steph is good at it. So I think he's going to
he's like, oh man, Steph, you got a 3-hole lead on me. 3-1 hole lead on me. I sure hope I don't
lead on. Yeah. But yeah, I just think like he's just too athletic to not eventually get good at this. And again, he's competitive. This is somebody who is taking golf. Also, J.R. Smith is a good friend of his too, right? So I would imagine J.R. Smith is helping him as well. It's clearly somebody who I don't think he's capable of half-assing something other than lyrics to rap songs. But
he 100% believes those are the accurate lyrics.
Did you see
Yabba
the
Dabba
Amazon
Doo,
commercial?
Yabba Dabba Doo, baby? That's.
But like the new Amazon commercial kind of pokes fun at his lyrical.
I will say he's gotten pretty good at making fun of himself through his advertisements over the last little while. Like there was that one. There was the the making fun of that he's always on the first page of the book because he's so addicted to a mobile game. One, I will say like he's opening up and like being willing to poke fun at himself a little bit more.
I think he's genuinely funny. I think he's like actually a funny guy, not like athlete funny where people laugh at everything that he says. But Harrison, I would have loved to sit here and talk about his golf swing and break it down, and the fact that he lifts his left foot entirely off of the ground and swings it like a baseball bat. I would love to be able to do that. But the next thing that we see here from LeBron makes that a little tricky because I should have uploaded it and I will right now. But the next thing that we saw from LeBron, the next little bit of content, the content that popped out was a picture of him inside the Cavaliers facility. Look at that.
Hey, you got to hashtag let him know.
He
is definitely hashtag letting him know. No one has ever lived up to the Cavs hashtag more than LeBron in this moment.
Yeah. Harrison, you have a take on this that is a step beyond where I'm willing to go. So I'm just going to give you the stage here.
Well, so you also, there was the thing where he reposted Allie Clifton and it looked like a friend of hers, like in Cavalier stuff, and said proper attire, like prayer emoji, I believe, like thinking emoji was the other one. And so, there's been like a number of things. He's wearing in one of his golf pictures a hat that says "Welcome Home" while golfing in Cleveland or Akron or somewhere in the Ohio area. And so I think this is pretty. So number one, I know LeBron is a genius because he is going to give himself plausible deniability in this stuff every single time. From his statement when he opted in with the Lakers, like no one can say that he demanded a trade. He did not. He just implied that his relationship with the Lakers was over and that he thanked them for their time and while opting into a $52 million contract with them for the next year. And stuff like this, hey, LeBron's from Cleveland. He's from Akron. He can go home to the Ohio area for 4th of July weekend, go see family, all this stuff. It's like, yeah, who's gonna, hey, we got commenters even saying like, this is a non-story. Yeah, obviously day 4 free agency, LeBron being in Cleveland, like working out at the Cavs facility. It's nothing, right? Like he does this every summer, obviously. And players are allowed to work out at other teams' facilities.
This is an important thing to note. This isn't tampering.
So
I saw people.
I saw Cavs fans were very worried that their team was going to get fined for tampering, and it's like, no, I understand why this rule probably hasn't come up for them because I don't think like a lot of NBA players spend their off season in Cleveland. With all due respect, but this is something that Lakers fans are obviously well aware of because you see stuff every summer of guys working out in the Lakers facility or guys working out in the Clippers facility because a lot of guys make their off season homes in LA, and any player during the off season is allowed to use any NBA team's facility. They have to make themselves available for that so that you don't have LeBron, like this wouldn't happen to LeBron, but you don't have Austin Reeves or something like being forced to go get a run in at LA Fitness and go use like their gym equipment and stuff like that. So it's a good rule and it's a well-intentioned rule, but it does allow for things like this where LeBron can just go into the Cavs practice facility. Hey, happen to be there at the same time as the summer league team. And, hey, I'm taking pictures with the rookies. It's hey, look, it's all just normal. I'm just working out here in the Cavs facility for no ulterior motives whatsoever. And I think that it's pretty clear based on both his actions and the statement from like Rich Paul to Shams when he was opting in. And, you and I did a whole show on like, it seems like this is him sort of starting to, he's quiet quitting. He's softly demanding
soft
a trade.
Launch. Yeah. He's like,
and
if I got traded, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah. And I think that based on all of this stuff and based on him taking this next step of, I know there are going to be people that say this is not an escalation. This is totally normal, whatever. And that's fine if you want to think that. But they're taking this next step and combined with a lot of the media reports from the last week makes me think that he is sort of softly agitating for a buyout, or maybe not even agitating is the right word, just sort of asking the Lakers like, hey, I did a lot for you. Can you do right by me and pay me, $50 million or whatever to not play for you this season and let me go take a minimum from the Cavs and, finish out my career and do the farewell tour in Cleveland. And, I think it actually makes more sense than soft launching a trade request because think about it from LeBron's perspective. If he is going back to the Cavs, why does he want Jared Allen and Darius Garland and, whatever else getting sent back to the Lakers in exchange for him? He wants the strongest team possible in the like completely just apocalyptic state of the East where the Cavs are the only team that doesn't basically have a star coming off of a major, like leg injury. Why wouldn't he want to go home and sort of finish out his career and take one last crack at a ring and bring another championship home to Cleveland and all of that stuff? And there's been a number of people, Bill Simmons, there's been, I believe Zach Lowe talked about it, but there's been like a number of sort of national insiders who've sort of just brought up the idea of, hey, does LeBron is he hoping for a buyout and whatever? And a lot of the time that stuff is not just speculation, when it comes from insiders. It's like, I've heard that LeBron would take a buyout, but I can't really say that. And, it just seems like something that maybe he would be open to. And so, I think that this is sort of him, asking Jeannie Buss and saying like, look, it's Luka's team now. It's not my team anymore. You guys didn't want to give me the 1+1. Like, can you just let me go and finish out my career elsewhere because I brought a championship to the Lakers and joined you when no one else would have?
Yeah, I've been thinking about the trade. I did a radio hit yesterday and somebody asked me, would LeBron prefer to be traded? And it's the number one question that basically every like national show when they bring us on, I don't think anybody brings like a Lakers person on to talk about the Lakers re-signing Jaxson Hayes, right? Everybody, like the thing that the sound clip that they want is somebody Lakers adjacent saying on their show before any of their own content that LeBron would like out of LA. Yeah. And I'm always kind of careful when I say it on somebody else's show, because if I'm going to say something like that, I want the clicks on my show. So do I think LeBron wants out? I think it's a non-zero chance. I would probably put it at, slightly less likely than he would prefer to be able to stay with the Lakers and win a championship with the Lakers in LA, and not have to leave and not deal with all this headache. But I don't think it's a coincidence that Rich Paul floats those comments about the Lakers planning for the future, floats, literally goes on the record to Shams Charania with those quotes about, the Lakers are planning for the future, and LeBron just doesn't care about the Lakers' future, right? He prefers to win a championship now. There is no future for LeBron. We're talking about it the next year or two for him. Yeah. And shortly thereafter, by soft launching that trade demand, the Lakers let Dorian Finney-Smith walk to open up cap flexibility for Project 2027. And these things like
we aren't calling it that, are we? I guess we can. It's fine.
We can call it Project Giannis. Like I saw Pete on LFR was calling it like the Giannis plan or whatever. But
yeah,
the problem with, or the thing that like George Sedano says all the time when he comes on my show, and I think it's a great point about LeBron, is, LeBron thinks he's leaving breadcrumbs, or like LeBron doesn't leave breadcrumbs. He just drops the whole loaf, And I think LeBron thinks that he's dropping breadcrumbs, but he's actually just like, I don't think he knows what a breadcrumb is. He probably hasn't dealt with a breadcrumb in years, right?
If LeBron was a screenwriter, there would be a lot of like very blatant exposition to the audience through dialogue,
Yeah. It would be did you see the Your Friends and Neighbors, the new John Hamm show on Apple?
I don't have
It's
Apple.
terrible. But he spends the whole time monologuing. I really think that the makers of that show were like, John Hamm has a great monologue voice. And he like narrates the whole thing, and the narration is completely heavy-handed, and it's a really bad show. But I think that's like essentially
LeBron wrote it anyway.
That's what you're talking about. But I also don't blame him, right? Like, the Lakers, and I also, by the way, there are a lot of Lakers fans who are like, or LeBron fans who are calling Lakers fans ungrateful. Like, there are very few takes here that I think are just, I just can't see, or I can't relate to at all.
I sort of understand
I think Lakers fans who are kind of sick of this. I think it's fair to be kind of sick of this. I think LeBron fans who are kind of sick of Laker fans, I think that's probably like a fair. I'm sick of Laker fans, to be completely honest, given my relationship with them this summer. Like there are times where
whoever clips that, sure, can you just crop me out when he says that, please?
But like, I think, everybody here, like, this has been a relationship that I think everybody anticipated would be for 4 or 5 years or so, but it's extended a couple of years beyond it. And more importantly, in LeBron's case, he's probably pretty sick of the Lakers basically not committing to him because they're waiting for him to get worse. Meanwhile, he's holding off Father Time in ways we've never seen in the NBA ever, or basically we've never seen in professional sports. He's doing some outlandish things to be able to be as good at basketball as he still is. And the whole time he's putting in all of that work, the Lakers are like, yeah, but you might not be as good next year. And we don't want to, use draft capital on, finally put chips into the middle of the table the year that you get hurt. It's been this really awkward spot that this relationship has been in for years, plural. And I don't blame anybody for being kind of sick of this specific stage of that relationship.
And, even beyond like the people on the outside, the people on the inside, like I understand not to post bail for Rob Pelinka here, but like, I understand him saying this is unprecedented. We don't know how long this is going to go on. Like, I can't just keep throwing draft picks out the window and, hoping that you continue to like defy all logic and reason and previous human knowledge about how long people can play professional basketball and all that stuff. So like, again, I'm not arguing like that the last couple of years were well managed or whatever, but I understand that Rob probably didn't think that LeBron was going to be able to play at this level for this long, and I understand why. And I understand why LeBron would look at that and be like, bro, like I was second team All NBA last year, and you're like, I think we got to punt 2 more years just to make sure that we can get that we can get the right co-star for Luka. And he's like, LeBron's like, I'm right here.
Yeah. So this is all right. I want to talk. I want to talk about. Go ahead.
And I just wanted to say, like, LeBron probably feels justifiably so. Like, I bailed you guys out at a time when nobody else was going to come to the Lakers, and
he's objectively correct.
I came, there was no co-star. I got the co-star. I did all this. I brought another title back to Los Angeles during like one of the hardest years Los Angeles in the world has ever had. And since then, and yes, like I advocated for a bad Russell Westbrook trade, but that doesn't mean that I should have to waste like the entire rest of my career as punishment. And, can you just do right by me? I don't have that long left. Can your version of treating this star right on the way out be giving me a balloon payment as a thank you and letting me go pick my next destination without having to have them, give you assets in return? And he's probably saying, can you do right by me like that? And the Lakers are saying, well, I don't know. Like, we don't really want to just like pay you $50 million to go play for the Cavs. What kind of message does that send to Luka? And so I understand why they're at a stalemate, but like, I understand everyone's perspective here.
Yeah. I also, by the way, I understand if the Lakers were like, no,
yeah.
like if the Lakers are like, we can't just let you walk.
I almost wonder if like the Dame thing gives him more ability to sort of agitate for this, where he's like, hey, the Bucks just stretched this like way bigger, longer contract, to free up space around their star. Why don't you guys want to do that around Luka? Yeah. And there's also like just the reality that, he may just be saying like, you just got to do right by me. This is you guys owe me this. Like, the new ownership is coming in. Like, the farewell tour economics shouldn't mean as much to you at this point. Can I just go and do this back in my hometown?
Also, part of his like kind of case, the case that he could make to the Lakers here is, you guys aren't trying to compete this year anyway.
Yeah.
Why do you care if I win a championship this year?
Yeah.
You're clearly, you let Dorian walk. Now, look, it also so happens because they got lucky in that DeAndre Ayton was bought out. The Lakers are better, I think, now than they were at the beginning of the offseason. But they aren't so much better that LeBron is like, ooh, we got ourselves a fucking squad, right? He's not going to send that tweet again. So like, I think.
Yeah, he's not gonna post like damn Rob sheesh about like the Jake LaRavia signing,
right,
with all due respect to Jake LaRavia.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see him acknowledge the DeAndre Ayton thing at all, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that the Lakers just got themselves a starting caliber center, kind of miraculously, in an offseason where LeBron was apparently, according to Rob, to Rich Paul, keeping a close eye on what the Lakers are going to be doing, and he doesn't even acknowledge the guy that's going to be in the starting lineup with him.
Well, he said
that's a little odd.
Not close mouth for like
what's that?
Speaking out. Close eye.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that like
he's just watching. He's not commenting.
Right. Well, but the year that I made fun of the 2021-22 Lakers, a really, really old team, right? And every new signing that they made, he was like, ooh, right? Like he was,
LeBron loves old guys. They really should have signed like a grandpa friend for him,
Yeah,
that.
How, I mean, we know that by the way, Rich Paul, like he has no problem whatsoever telling, if a reporter asks him, hey, like, what do you think, or what does LeBron think about this? Rich Paul has no problem being like, yeah, he's pretty excited about that guy.
One of the most unfiltered agents we've ever had. Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't gotten that report of like, yeah, LeBron, heard about the Ayton signing and he's pretty excited about that. No, like, and again, that was a freaking miracle, Harrison. The fact that the Lakers got a starting caliber center without having to give up anything completely changed the outlook of their offseason this year. And it was like, and we haven't heard a thing about it. We heard Luka liked it. We got that report, So I mean, it's certainly
damn. That's crazy. I wonder if the person who leaked that could have had anything to do with the negotiations for signing DeAndre Ayton. That's
and they just so happened to bring back another client of his. Yesterday.
I think Bill Duffy's our new overlord.
Oh no, he totally is. Yeah. It's, what's funny? I was thinking about this too, Harrison. Everybody seemed to have a real problem with Clutch, and I'm not saying just fans. I'm saying like NBA media seemed to have a problem with Clutch running the Lakers, or the perception that Clutch was running the Lakers, or that they had an outsized imprint on the Lakers. Meanwhile, CAA basically runs the Knicks, and now potentially Bill Duffy is going to kind of, take that spot with the Lakers. I wonder if we're going to get all of that like subliminal messaging that, no, actually it's hashtag bad that Clutch was running the Lakers about Bill Duffy in the same way.
Yeah, or
somehow,
like Luke
somehow
GM.
I don't think we will.
Can we get that started?
What's that?
Luke GM, like we gotta figure out a way to get like GM into Luka's name.
That's true.
Yeah.
We'll work on it. The thing is, he doesn't have the La, right? La made everything so much easier and funnier.
Lou GM.
Yeah.
We'll keep working on it.
But yeah, I don't know. I would be kind of bummed if it was just a buyout, because I think a trade would be mutually beneficial to people. And also, like, if you're LeBron, do you really care that much about like Max Strus, and whatever? Like, if you want, or if you're LeBron, do you? I think
they'd have to put one of the big contracts in to make that work. And so
no, they definitely would. It's like they have to move a lot of money to get under the salary cap and be able to aggregate contracts to get him.
Like, I'm fairly certain Jared Allen just has to be in it, because.
But do you think he cares that Dallas would give up Daniel Gafford and Max Christie and PJ Washington? I don't think he would at his own position. I don't think he would care about that. He would get to play with AD and Kyrie and be coached by Jason Kidd.
Rather just go there, and like reunite with his best buddy Frank Vogel, for free, rather than.
By the way, I think the reason to throw cold water on the Dallas rumors, sorry, people in Dallas, the reason to throw cold water on those theories is that you have assistant coaches leaving. Right, you had Shamgod.
They're rebuilding the 2020 Lakers.
Yeah, but you had was it God Shamgod? Right? He went to Orlando. You had Jared.
I saw someone say that atheists call him Science Sham Science, which made me laugh pretty hard.
No, I got a text that it was a sham bomb about God Shamgod.
Yeah.
But Jared Dudley just went to Denver, right? He was on that Dallas staff. If assistant coaches thought that, or if it was out there in the ether that LeBron was going to Dallas, I don't think you would have the assistant coach, so many assistant coaches leaving Dallas. So I don't think he's going to Dallas. Cleveland, I could see, and especially if you're talking about this buyout potentially, they can, even though they're above the second apron in the offseason, they can sign buyout guys because the apron rules don't apply until the start of the NBA season, not the NBA calendar year. The thing to me that I would, it would be a bummer to see it end kind of this way, right? Where you have the subtweeting, you have the public posturing, you have the public negotiation, and then
they
also end with a buyout would be a bit of a bummer.
They tried to end it with the, hey, thank you for your time. We have enjoyed this partnership. And, they were hoping that the Lakers would say, we have decided to buy LeBron out of his contract as a thank you for all his contributions to the Lakers over the years. And we wish him luck in pursuing the final season of his career, wherever he chooses to have it. And we'll always, and we'll retire his jersey the day he hangs it up. And that didn't happen. So now LeBron is working out with Cavs summer leakers.
So, but that's the part of this that like seeing it end with this kind of public, negotiation, that's a bit of a bummer to see the relationship get to kind of that point. And by the way, it's a long time coming. The fact that the Lakers basically haven't trusted that LeBron would hold up the way that he has while he is held up for an extra. What do you think, Harrison? Like, realistically, we probably would have said a few years ago that, like, by the time he gets to 40, he would probably be a pretty diminished player. He's way, like, it's crazy that
way better than I would have guessed at this age.
Yeah. And yet he has nothing at all to show for the efforts that it took to remain as good as he is. So, and by the way, like,
and so someone
you have people legitimately questioning, like, hey, is this guy still a 16-win player? Because of the playoff shortcomings that the Lakers have had. While, again, we have spent so much time on this show, and every show has spent so much time talking about how the Lakers haven't fully committed, haven't gone all in on the LeBron at the end of the LeBron AD era. If we can acknowledge that, then we should also be able to empathize with LeBron being frustrated over it. That's a part of that I don't get, is Lakers fans not being able to understand LeBron's frustration while you literally share them.
Yeah.
None of us like Rob Pelinka.
Only we can be mad at Rob.
Yeah. I don't get that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about go ahead.
The only other thing that I was going to mention that the comments brought up, the additional part of this from the Rich Paul playbook, was like when he was pushing back on like the speculation that LeBron wants out. He's like, I had 4 teams call me. We didn't have any substantive conversations. It's like, wait a second, but you had conversations? What's a substantive conversation? Like, LeBron's under contract. Like, I don't, what's going on here? Again, it's just like, it's more like we are leaving the door open to go to our next destination. It's in the Lakers court.
That word has people in hell this offseason. It's substantive. I saw poor Dave McMenamin said it was substantiative, which is substantiative would be like it was grounded in, or
substantiated is different.
Yeah, but he said substantiative. I was like, no, that's not the word. And then
look, we've all mispronounced stuff on
no, I'm saying everybody struggling with that word specifically has been funny. But yeah, I want to talk about the Project Giannis aspect of this. Here's my problem with it, Harrison. When the Lakers got LeBron, right? They moved money the moment they needed to move money, right? They needed to move Jordan Clarkson. They needed to move Larry Nance. They needed to do those things. They did it the moment they needed to. And
the trade deadline before.
No, but that's what I'm saying, is that like I think they had heard the reason they made that trade. I would imagine I wasn't reporting stuff. I wasn't talking to nearly the same number of people back then. But
do you think it had something to do with Rich Paul sitting courtside with Jeannie Buss at every single Laker game that season?
But like, I would imagine when the Lakers made that trade, they knew what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
And now with Giannis, we somehow need to watch the Lakers actively make the Lakers worse during 2 years of Luka's prime for the eventual flexibility to maybe get Giannis. That's the part of this that bothers me. You already
they have a young core now. They have the number 1 and number 3 picks in the 2018 draft. What do you mean worse?
But like I this like, because I listened to LFR, and I'm going to talk to Pete about this when he does the show next. So Pete, heads up. But they were talking about like Wiggins and why they're skeptical that the Lakers have talked to Miami substantively about about Andrew Wiggins, and one, they have, like, that there have been conversations. I'm just flat out saying it, that those conversations have taken place. Now, I also can tell you that they don't want to give up the first round pick, not because of flexibility for 2027, but because I don't think Andrew Wiggins is worth a first round pick more than Rui Hachimura, right? But part of the reason that they were kind of skeptical that the Lakers were in on Wiggins was because of the money that would be on his contract. beyond this season. And I think all it is a player option after this year for $30 million. Now, after that season, he would
a lot of Andrew Wiggins.
He would have a cap hold the following year after that contract is over. But like, I don't think you would ever struggle to move Andrew Wiggins on a $30 million expiring contract. I just don't see a world in which, like, if the Lakers got wind that they needed to be more flexible to bring in Giannis, they wouldn't be able to do that in the same way that they did with Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. before they got LeBron. Also,
well, and there's also we know that the media math will change as soon as Wiggins is a Laker, and it's like, the Lakers need to attach 2 first-round picks to get off of this gigantic $30 million deal.
Yeah. But like, the other thing too is, and I know Luka is obviously a unique situation in that Nico lost his godforsaken mind, but the Lakers hadn't been positioning themselves for years for Luka either, right? Like, it was he just landed in their lap. Yeah. And now I did float the theory out there last night in Slack that maybe Jaxson Hayes is Luka's KCP, and that like he allowed the Lakers.
It's not a bad theory, like it's.
But like, but yeah, it makes me like, I don't know, when I hear about like, oh, the Lakers can't do this, or they can't add this player, or they can't do this because they got to keep their options open, or they won't do this because they're trying to keep their options open for 2027. You can do that if your team sucks. You can do that if you don't have anybody else. You don't do that while you have Luka Doncic here. Also, you don't do that while Luka, is yet to sign his extension. Like, I wouldn't. Now maybe the Lakers are just that confident. Maybe they've already, heard from Luka, and maybe that's part of the reason that they got Ayton, right? Was that Luka is probably going to sign his extension? Wouldn't surprise me. It would actually shock me if he didn't sign his extension. But still, like, it's a difficult task. It's a tough sell, huh?
I wouldn't be shocked
if he didn't sign his extension.
It's so much less than he could have gotten from the Mavs. And it's like, what has he seen from the Lakers at this point to where he's like, I need to commit right now?
I don't know. But my point either way, like whether people agree with you or with me, is that like, while you were trying to convince him to stay, you shouldn't be talking about a potential free agent 2 years from now. And by the way, how is Giannis going to age? He can't shoot very well.
He'd still only be, I looked this up.
He's going to be 32.
32 or 33, like right in that range.
Yeah.
And, he'll still probably be pretty, with the way we've seen LeBron age, you're telling me that Giannis can't still be like really athletic and like, dangerous in transition and in the open floor and all of that stuff at 32. Like, yes, he can.
Maybe. Yeah, probably. But I don't know.
I doubt he adds a 3 like LeBron has. And that'll be the big differentiator of why like Giannis probably isn't playing till 40, But
that's part of why, like, I don't know. I'm just not willing to, while they have Luka, watch the Lakers just kind of fuck around for 2 years in the hope of maybe getting Giannis in 2027. That's just maybe
it's stupid. It's stupid, and it's an uncreative plan. It's like that's the thing. Is these smart front offices that
there's a great point here too from Sri. I think it's Karan, but Giannis has been injured the last 4 playoff runs. That's an important thing to note. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Anthony, with the Lakers training staff, I think that's going to.
It's true. It's fun.
Well, actually, with the Lakers, probably new training staff that they're going to get with the new ownership. Actually, that hey, maybe that's a good bet.
Maybe they'll hire the people who have kept LeBron healthy.
Yeah, Mike Mancias. You want you need a new job. LeBron's going to retire eventually, right? You want to be Giannis's guy?
Honestly, that would be such an inspired hire. I'm not kidding. That would be actually really cool.
I mean, it's like, look, LeBron to some degree, like LeBron is LeBron. And so like, with all due respect to Mike Mancias, it's like, even he would probably say like LeBron is one of one. Like he's not doing magic to allow LeBron to play this. It's like LeBron is LeBron. But, clearly that's a guy who has some, like at the very least, an incredible resume to come in and like sort of be your guy, keep your stars healthy guy. And much like that guy who was the Steve Nash trainer with the Suns, like got like a bunch of jobs off of that because he basically like Steve Nash had been like a physical wreck and then all of a sudden was like, you know, a 2-time MVP and was able to stay healthy every year until he got to the Lakers. And so, but regarding Project,
well, he didn't bring that guy with him to the Lakers is the problem.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, they didn't have the money for that, Anthony. Project 2027, it's just like it's an uncreative plan in the sense of these smart front offices. They can move off of money. They can wave and stretch guys. They can trade guys. They can find like, you know, they turn over every rock and find the one team who wants player X more than anyone else and can flip him for, you know, like they can flip Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball, you know, on the fly. And they can, you know, like the Thunder are constantly sort of flipping like guys in and out at the back end of the roster and making trades where they have salary cap space and they're taking on money and they're taking on draft picks for the future that they can then use to incentivize and grease up a trade down the line. And, you know, the thing is, it's just like, it's completely uncreative. And it's like it's thinking, it's building for the NBA a decade ago to be like, we need to keep our books clean for the next 2 years. We cannot take on any salary that extends beyond the next 2 years and use up that time because that's the only way that we can have space to go get Giannis. It's like, that's just not the case. You can trade for contracts that you can move contracts. And, you know, you have to be more creative than that. Guys don't move just in straight up free agency anymore anyway.
Well, that part, but also it's also to like I tweeted this out the other day, and the way that in the prior CBA and in prior CBAs, cap space was the way to be flexible, right? That was the way to acquire people or be the threat to acquire somebody. Now, the way to be flexible is to employ players other teams want.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how, like, you know, the fact that the Bulls like Isaac Okoro, that allowed the Cavs to trade for Lonzo Ball. The fact that, you know, the Suns like who's the Jalen, what's Green, right? Is it Green?
Hood Shafino. Oh, sorry.
But the fact that the fact that the Suns like so many of Houston's young guys that, you know, Houston was able to move Jalen Green and still have him be considered, you know, some of the Phoenix.
They signed him to a contract that like half the league or probably more hated, but they found the one team that was willing to take it on and use it as salary ballast. Like, you need salary ballast for this stuff.
Yeah. And you know, what the Lakers, you know, you mentioned this in a really bad analogy the last time you were on the show, but the building blocks way, like the way that they build their you know, where it's like they can only focus on one aspect of the project at a time, and there is no like piecing it back together at the end of it. No, it's that like, all right, if the way that Rob kind of operates is, I can only maintain flexibility. I can't maintain flexibility and be good at the same time. I can only develop through youth. I can't develop through youth and have productive vets at the same time. I can like, it's not, you know, and all of these teams,
we only have one person working in the front office, so we can only focus on one thing at once. You know, it's
Oh, we have another LeBron tweet. Did you see that?
I'm looking it up right now to see. I don't see anything new from him. I don't know what this person's talking about.
I see it. It's a reply. So LeBron to Hoop Central, who aggregated that picture of him. LeBron says he's been training there every summer since it was built.
Plausible deniability goat, you know?
Yeah.
Again.
Well, I don't think he's taking pictures there every year.
Again, you can't accuse him of doing anything because he can just say that this is normal and allowed.
Yeah. Gaslight is a thing.
The Lakers can go to him and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's like, "What? I'm just working out. I'm getting ready for this season."
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not gonna go so far as you do with the buyout, but I also share, and I
you're telling me you don't think that if the Lakers came to him and offered him a buyout, he would take it?
No, I think he would have to approach them first and ask for it.
But I'm saying, like, do you think that, like, if they came to him and they said, do you want $50 million and pick your next destination? Like, what do you think he'd say? He'd say yes.
Yeah. Look, did you hear how happy Dame was about being waived and stretched by Milwaukee? He doesn't have to live in Milwaukee anymore. Like, he doesn't have to be coached by Doc Rivers anymore. So, yeah,
and again, the Bucks are an example where, people were saying there's nothing they can do. They're trapped, whatever. They decide to waive and stretch Dame in a decision that may come back to bite them and be really stupid. But they were able to free up flexibility to sign Miles Turner to a bigger offer than the Pacers were making. Creative GMs, you can argue with the merits of some of these moves, but you can find ways to sign guys, bring guys in, make trades, whatever. You can't just say we're going to punt on 2 years with our superstar and like try to sign like these like reclamation projects and hope that DeAndre Ayton pans out and remembers how to be a good basketball player. And, and then, in 2027, we'll get you a star, Luka.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, just like I said a second ago, if LeBron is frustrated, so am I. So are we, right? Like
you're always frustrated.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But the Lakers always give me a reason to be frustrated, right? Like this Hayes thing is so stupid. Yeah. This Hayes thing is just so dumb that like he's not a good, like, here's the thing. People are taking it like my statements about this, and I rant and raved about it, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on Hayes in this episode. But if you want more of my full thoughts, you can check out last night's lowdown. It's right there in the feed. But if like one of the unfortunate realities,
watching the stream right now, do you think that's why he do you think LeBron's watching the stream right now? Like that's why he tweeted. He's like, they're Lakers Lounge doing an emergency show.
He literally told me to go make a plate.
Yeah.
I have the tri-tip in the sous vide, LeBron.
I can't believe LeBron just called you fat while we're on the air. That's unbelievable.
He and all of
But again,
Twitter,
plausible deniability. You can't say that he said that, It's
one of these days I'm going to take one of those pictures of me with my shirt off and be like, I'm really not as fat as you guys think. I swear.
I'm gonna after the show, I'm gonna take that tweet and I'm gonna try and highlight out like Anthony Irwin from the words like ANT.
Oh man, did you see? Like Daman tweeted out like all of the great centers and how they can make Ayton, and then Parker Fleming, right?
Yeah.
Like all of the bad Lakers centers, and it also can spell Ayton. It's really good. But anyway, like what I was gonna say about Hayes. And how it kind of fits into like the fact that Rob cannot multitask. I am big bone. No, it's big faced is the problem. Like it's just it's this shit. Like it's like
I'm sorry. I know you were talking. I just saw that comment and was like so good.
Like I grant that I should lose some weight. I have been losing weight, but like I swear the way Twitter talks about it, you would think I'm a sumo wrestler. But yeah, like the to get back to like this notion of Rob not being able to multitask. A funny example of this, Harrison, is the fact that he can't have productive relationships with more than one agency at a time. That like
look, all these guys hate me. The only way that I can make them happy is by just like letting one of them run the team and then blaming them for any bad moves I make.
Like he's had this relationship with Clutch for 7 years. The second that they bring in Luka, Rich Paul is out there talking on the record to ESPN about this great partnership they had.
Yes, past tense. So I speak about Anthony. I speak about everything in past tense all the time. Like I tell my wife every day when she leaves for work, I'm like, I've really enjoyed the time we've had together. And when she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I just mean I'm talking about all the past times that we've had together. I hope we have many more good times in the future,
Yeah. So anyway, the Hayes thing is just so dumb because we have come to understand that the way the world works is really talented people get away with more.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's an unfortunate reality, but it's a reality. And like Hayes isn't that. He couldn't play in the playoffs. There is no explanation of like,
your
we were
coach
desperate.
just told you with his decisions that this guy is bad. And you're telling me that you couldn't, again, this is the lack of creativity. You couldn't find any center that you're willing to take a gamble on that you think could maybe play in the playoffs when you know that this guy, your coach is not going to trust and play him in the playoffs. And then because of the way you're re-signing him, he gets a default no trade clause.
Yeah. That should make you less inclined to sign him. You know,
like so much for flexibility.
Yeah.
You're telling me you don't think there's a single center in the world that you're willing to take a gamble on could be better than Jaxson Hayes as your backup, you know?
Yeah. And but that's the thing is that like it, and also, so the way that it was for, I'll say it again. I said it on the lowdown. I'll say it again here. The way that it was kind of put to me going into the offseason is if Jaxson Hayes is on the Lakers next season, he and the Lakers would have to reach a point of real desperation. The Lakers.
You're telling me the market wasn't frothy for Jaxson Hayes?
Yeah. But like the thing with like it'd be one thing if they didn't have Ayton on their team and they were that desperate, you know, they needed any center. They need a center going into next season. I would still prefer Achua. I would still prefer like the Rockets just waived that white dude. What's his name? Anyway,
Jock Landale?
Yeah. Like Landale.
Yeah. I think it's Jock Landale and not Jack Landale. But yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like I think there were other options, especially to be your backup, you know, and this idea that like it was like we really, and especially given the type of center that Ayton is, like that was another thing that I checked in. It was like this has to be just noise, right? And you know, the reason for it was if you got your lob threat center or your pick and roll center in Ayton, the Lakers wanted, they told us this in the press conference, they also wanted a floor spacer. All Hayes is like a poor man's version of Ayton. And it's like, why bring somebody in who just last year was being investigated by, I think still is being investigated.
Well, the league hasn't said that they stopped investigating him. But, you know, my theory is that Joe Dumars was in charge of that and he got hired by the Pelicans and they're just like trying to still find his, like, which direct report of his is in charge of it now.
Right. And so like the you know, the NBA was investigating Hayes or is investigating Hayes because of a video of a literal domestic violence incident that Hayes had charges pressed on him for. Like
I believe the court case is still ongoing.
Yeah. And so it's like you're going to welcome yourself, you're going to open yourself up to that bad PR again for Jaxson Hayes. You know, like the year that they signed Kendrick Nunn, and Kendrick Nunn's was further behind him in his criminal history. But when they signed Kendrick Nunn, they got him at a discount, you know, because he thought Miami's offer was bad. And when they got Kendrick Nunn, it was like, I mean, whatever. I didn't like it, but it's like, this is how the world works. And especially this is apparently specifically how Rob Pelinka thinks is like, if I can get a discount for anybody for any reason, I'm going to take the discount. And you know, for this one here, though, it's like you provided Hayes the only option he had. There weren't other teams that were like, man, I really need Jaxson Hayes. There was barely a market for him a couple of years ago before the video came out. The Pelicans told him to go away.
He's not good. I'm sorry. He's just not a good basketball player.
Yeah.
Either. It's just not worth it in any respect, but whatever. I mean,
let's talk really quickly. Let's get out of here on a more positive note. A lot of people are asking about what's coming next. So the noise is still out there, and DeAnthony Melton is considered by many. There's a very high likelihood that DeAnthony Melton will be a Laker next year, and those conversations have continued. Even though the Lakers don't have an open roster spot, I guess they could technically open up a roster spot by buying out LeBron.
LeBron sign and trade for DeAnthony Melton.
Yeah. But like honestly, Harrison, that might kind of signal why the Lakers are treating this offseason the way that they do, and why they're talking so much about, salary space and or cap space in 2027, is because they see how where this is going with LeBron. And they know that, like, even if they have a productive offseason, they're probably going to lose this guy. I'm not saying that's definitely the case. I'm saying that could be one reading of the situation, but they could just waive Shake Milton. He has an unguaranteed salary that would completely off of the books after they waive him. So you open up the roster spot, you open up the space. As such, they would have access to their full biannual exception, which Melton is supposed to get at least a big chunk of it, if not all of it. And that's how you arrive at DeAnthony Melton being on the team.
Doesn't the BAE hard cap you?
Yeah, but they're already hard capped at the first apron anyway.
Okay.
It wouldn't change their season.
I hate
outlook.
the new CBA. Okay.
Yeah. So, for those of you who are kind of, when I had Jovan on the show yesterday, all of the same stuff that I said then still remains true now, even while the Lakers have no roster spots technically for him. And then, the other thing they could do, and the thing that I hope that they do, is making a consolidation trade, because they also prefer to go into seasons with an open roster spot and a first round pick. So I would probably anticipate some type of consolidation trade also to get a rotation player and open up that 15th roster spot going into the season. So those are the two things that I'm kind of looking at here. What do you think of DeAnthony Melton?
I think, it's a huge if, obviously, at this point, if he can stay healthy, but for the amount of money that they're getting him, I think it's a decent gamble. He would be, if he can play, a really good fit alongside Luka. But that's just a big if, at this point, because we've seen him, season after season now, he's just not able to stay on the court. And I hope, as somebody who has suffered with back stuff, like I hope he is able to get his back right and come and play, and because that just sucks. And he's a really good player, and he was like a beloved role player by the Grizzlies. And then they just sort of decided as an organization that they didn't believe in his back long term. And it looked like that was so far the correct bet. But if the Lakers can
then he tore his ACL. Like the thing that he's coming off of is an ACL tear.
Oh yeah, Melton. That's right. He had that too. Yeah. So again, it's just like, if he can be healthy and play basketball, then, that would be great. But there's obviously an extensive injury history there. And there's a reason that he's available for what he's available for.
So yeah, I'm fine with it. They need point of attack defense. He's really good at that.
He's really good when he plays.
Yeah. Shit. When he went to the Warriors, they were excellent whenever he was on the court. Their team got a lot better anytime he was on the court.
He is like an Alex Caruso style, what do we used to call
impact
him?
Defender.
Like a lubricator, like a guy who just plays better and makes stars work better.
Oh, together. Yeah. I think Raj uses the connective term for that.
That's probably a better term than lubricator.
Yeah, lubricator, pause.
We call him the big lube.
Now that I am going to clip.
We can make a hype mix for him with that as the starting clip if he plays really well this year.
Big lube.
It's we call him the big lube, and then and then all the hard music hits, and it's like him making amazing connective passes for corner threes, and yeah.
Every time he makes a shot, people are going lube.
DeAnthony, we just lost the Lakers. DeAnthony Melton, I think. He's I already had to deal with Warriors fans last year, whatever crazy shit they probably said about him. It's
Unbelievable.
Got Sam Esfandiari and Andy Liu probably had some way crazier nickname for him, and now he's like, I gotta sign with the Pelicans, just like someone that they don't have, the crazy podcasters.
We have one starred comment here. We'll go ahead and get back to our 4th of July activities. By the way, 4,400 of you guys here in the room. Please do hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like
4,400 on July. Wow.
Well, I've always said Twitter kind of inflates that.
No, they don't. But that's real. 4,400 Lounge Army. Thank you for lounging with us.
But you know what? It looks good. Like, it looks good up on the corner. Let's really quickly get to the super comment, which means we get to play this one.
I'm disappointed it's not from LeBron.
No. Yeah, we got the super comment, so we get to play this one.
That's a motherfucking shot. Shit. Over the trees, huh? Huh?
Ain't no 2 days the same, huh?
It's
that's me every time that's me every time I get a text message that's like, can you believe what Anthony just said?
I will never not laugh, because anybody who has ever played golf can relate to this specific moment.
That's a motherfucking shot. Shit.
Who
Over the
bleeped it?
trees,
Does he have a guy following him around just like hitting a bleep sound effect whenever he...
Ain't no 2 days the same, huh?
I know, man. I'm just trying to.
I also he has a really good friend there who's just like, you were good yesterday.
Yeah, he said champ. So I was like, is that J.R. Smith? Like, I don't, because I know that he calls him that, but he calls all his former teammates that have won titles with him that. So I don't know.
It's just such a good clip, dude. It is so fucking funny, because every single person. So I've told you guys already on the show, but I have that bucket golf thing. I went out and bought that bucket golf thing, and it doesn't matter if I'm merely just chipping the ball in my backyard. Every so often you duff one, and it's just like, motherfucker, how did you duff it chipping? Like, it's just golf does that to people, which was the point of the tweet that I sent. All right, starred comment here comes from Roberto. Don't blow yourself up. Buy tacos instead.
Wow. Call back to the beginning of the show. If you jumped in halfway through, that's going to make no sense. But Anthony was threatening to, sacrifice.
Shouts to Roberto. That was a good comment.
$1.99 probably gets you a taco somewhere, right? It's $2 taco places
on Taco Tuesday, probably. Yeah, I would say. You
got to play that sound effect from LeBron.
I just got to play it one more time. I can't stop watching it.
That's a motherfucking shot.
It's the right after he knows it's gone.
Do you think that was actually a good shot?
Ain't no 2 days the same, huh?
I ain't know, man. I'm just trying to get better, champ.
Let's
keep
go.
Stacking the days.
Let's go.
So talking in golf, in golf,
he went where he wanted it to go. Based on his reaction. Yeah.
Well, because he also said, like, that's a fucking shot.
He sounds very resigned as he's walking away. So
yeah. I wonder.
Resigned? Re-signed? Is it a message to the Lakers about that he wanted?
He's resigned to the idea that he had to resign. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As I say always before these big weekends or during these big weekends, please be safe. Alcohol and fireworks, not necessarily the best combination. Alcohol and driving after said fireworks is an even worse one. So please be safe and enjoy your weekend and enjoy your family and all of that good stuff. And then on Sunday, I'll be back here to recap. And obviously, also, if we get any kind of breaking news, I'll jump in and break that down too. But a buyout, for example, I would probably do an emergency show on. Harrison, if there is a buyout, can I just jot you down as my guest for that emergency pod?
No.
Damn it. You wouldn't want to take your victory lap?
No, I'll say maybe. It's gonna, my wife's only day off this week is tomorrow, so I don't know if we're like out somewhere. I'm not gonna do it.
I don't think you would get a buyout tomorrow.
I'm just saying, if it's
I don't
tomorrow,
think he's going to get a buyout anyway. God, please don't
Yeah.
clip that shit.
coming. Per Anthony Irwin, LeBron buyout not coming tomorrow.
Yeah, great. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Hold on, one more time.